In today's Warcrow topic, we are going to be talking about the Black Legion Bucklermen, who are part of the Hegemony of Embersig faction in Warcrow. As I talk about the Hegemony of Embersig throughout all the different kind of lore videos, I'm going to be seeding information about the Hegemony itself and about the Black Legion. And so first and foremost, who or what is the Black Legion? So the Black Legion is not the entire army of the Hegemony of Embersig, but it's the heavily armored elite force of the Hegemony of Embersig, and consequently it is kind of like their main force. But they are supported by various types of auxiliaries. They are extremely regimented and they follow a chain of command. They are very similar to what we have in modern day as kind of a modern military in the world of Lindworm. And this military is made up of a diverse group of individuals from all across the Hegemony's 8 provinces. However, even though they are a heavily armored elite force, not all situations require that. And so they have kind of created this new kind of light infantry unit, which are the Bucklermen, and they are experts at mobility. They are skilled swordsmen who are trained at being able to move quick in different areas, and they are good at defending against range and melee attacks with their small round shields. They can block swords, arrows, different projectiles with their shields, and they are really good at moving through different areas of terrain. And so they are excellent for kind of this new era that Lindworm is in, where small skirmishes are kind of the main type of fights that many of the factions see, where the era of massive pitched battles has kind of moved to the wayside. Soldiers of the Black Legion still occasionally will wear small pieces of cloth or fabric that are dyed with the color of their home province, despite the Black Legion having a set uniform, a regimented uniform. Some individuals will wear a small piece of cloth or fabric tucked somewhere, but it's said that other individuals will wear pieces of clothing. Because the Hegemony is still relatively newer in the kind of the alliances they have with their different provinces. And so for the rest of this video, I'm just going to kind of talk about these 8 different regions. Very briefly, I'm going to talk about their color that these Bucklermen or other legionnaires might wear, and kind of what type of troops come from the area. Now, the Hegemony is very much based off of things like Hungarian, Slavic, and Germanic cultures. So I'm going to try to pronounce the names of these regions, but I may pronounce them wrong, so just bear with me, all right? So first we have Fulkozat. Now this region is blue. The fabric would be blue, and this is going to represent the rivers that they have kind of perforating throughout their entire region. These legionnaires are known for being the most disciplined and coordinated troops within the Black Legion. Next we have Sarbak. They are gray for the work clothes of the craftsmen that live within the region. They have a very strong kind of craftsman orientation there. So the legionnaires there get to test new technologies that are created by the craftsmen there. Now that could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on if the technology is unstable or not. So these guys are kind of like guinea pigs, but they do get to test all kind of the cool new tech. Next we have Lamidia. Their color is white for the manes of their proud horse breeds that they have that descend all the way back from the Magar tribes that kind of were the original founders who moved north and founded the Hegemony. And because of this, the legionnaires there are some of the best horsemen. Next we have Balagia. They are red for the blood that is spilt as they are continually fighting a faction to the south that we don't know much about called the Osmans. But what we do know from this little section of text is that these legionnaires are known to be some of the most fearless troopers and are experts at combating magic because their peers often are killed and risen again and fight against their own peers as undead. I think that's really interesting. Hopefully we get more about the Osmans later on. The next region is Herdolkoz, and their color is purple for the robes of their bankers and merchants. And so because they have a lot of the money, that means they also are not going to spare any expense, and they're going to make sure their soldiers have the best equipment and armor. Next up, we have Kalentia, and this is going to be a region that is dark green, and they're dark green for their pine forests. These soldiers or legionnaires are considered more primitive to the rest of the Hegemony, and this is primarily because they are very strong-willed, and the Hegemony has a very set, kind of hierarchy, and following commands is kind of important for the Hegemony's battle style. But one thing that they are very, very good at is fighting the feudum. Next we have Bachlia, I think it's called. I really think this region is cool because their color is sienna for the sand in their icy frozen deserts that they have that cover this region. And because of this harsh environment, these legionnaires are the most resilient. Next we have Osmarkos, which is kind of the big political hotspot right now. And their color is yellow for the brightness of the new era that was heralded by the annexation of Osmarkos from the feudum into the Hegemony of Embersig. So like I said, really big kind of political hotspot right now. And because this is the newest kind of region, the soldiers here are still getting used to kind of this cultural shift. So they oftentimes are still stuck with the feudal systems and hierarchies of like knights and peasants. Whereas in the hegemony, anybody can really kind of do whatever they want to do. Anybody can join the Black Legion. So you could have somebody who would have been a peasant and somebody who would have been a noble fighting right next to each other on the same level of rank in the Black Legion. So there's some kind of cool cultural clashes going on there. And then the last region is Michengai, and their color is turquoise. I like turquoise, so this is kind of one of my favorite de facto regions. And their color is turquoise for the Great Lakes and waters, where beasts drink at dusk. And the fighters here, the legionnaires here, are experts at open field combat and are as dangerous on their own and in small groups as they are in big formations. And so that is kind of the Bucklermen and some of the colors that some of these legionnaires, including the Bucklermen, might have on their uniforms. So if you are painting models, you can maybe try to incorporate this. I know I do this with kind of the neck kerchief on the different models because almost every single hegemony model has that. So why are the Bucklermen cool? I love the aesthetic of the hegemony, and I like that they have these really kind of light units that are able to move quick and get to the key positions very quickly, and that they're just trained really well to use a small buckler shield, and they're able to use that dexterity to block not only melee attacks, but also like projectile weapons. I think that's really, really cool. Ranged weapons. I also like that the hegemony is a modern army in a fantasy world. It's really kind of cool to see how that clashes. And I really like this cool blend of cultures from across the different provinces. It reminds me very much of kind of the ancient world and Rome and how they used different cultures and kind of pooled them together. And with that, this lore video about the Black Legion Bucklermen comes to an end. Don't forget to follow this channel to get more Warcrow lore. And if you survive the fog, I'll see you in the next video.